Life is an amusing thing. How one can be born but not truly live. Such was the story of my own life, if you could call it that. Born in an insignificant hamlet in an insignificant town, toiling away in insignificant jobs simply to maintain and continue my insignificant existence. All I knew of the world outside, of life itself, came from my books. Pathetic as my life was, expanding my knowledge as best I could was what consumed my time. I guess, in some ways, some things never change. The day my life truly began, that I was truly born, came in fire. Bandits invaded our little town, pillaging and killing, enslaving. I was one of the lucky few who was shackled and stuffed into the hold of a ship and crated off to divines nowhere to be sold like people of my village sold chickens. What happened next wasn't clear, but what matters is the outcome. The ship on which I was held met catastrophe. What capsized the ship is of little consequence. What killed everyone else on board, even less so. I was alone and trapped in the sinking ship. For days I clawed and kicked at the boards until finally enough gave way and I was able to squeeze through the small opening I had inflicted. The cold, icy water felt amazing. Freedom such as I had never before known. It was invigorating. And then I found it. A sunken temple, old and forgotten, silently waiting on the sea floor. And inside, oh, the treasures inside. Books, centuries of knowledge, and the temple had been magically sealed. Not a drop of the sea made it inside. I couldn't have been happier, except even an Argonian needs food. I journeyed deeper and deeper inside, hoping against hope I would find some form of sustenance, all the way to the core of the temple. And that is where I finally collapsed. And as I lay dying, he came to me, my master. He offered me all the knowledge that all the worlds had to offer in exchange for service. And my service? To read, to write, to catalog all this knowledge. How could I say no? Apocrypha was and is the most beautiful place in the firmament. Thousands of us serve, none more or less important than another, with the exception of one. Time has no meaning here. Days pass in minutes, and minutes stretch into centuries. It is glorious. Occasionally, the Master will select one of us for a task, and send the chosen back to Nirn to witness and record great events, or to study a single item and return new tomes and knowledge in hand to share with all who dwell here. This is the life I was made for. But rumors never before thought possible have begun to arise. The Master's chosen, Miraak, has begun swaying followers to rally to him rather than the Master. He has begun acting on his own, obsessed with obtaining the glory he once sought long ago. We are told even bigger things are coming for the world of Nirn. And now, the Master has come to me. I have been chosen to return to Nirn, to learn the truth of Miraak's coup, and to stand center stage in the coming events that will rock this world. He has chosen not to tell me what it is I face, but I know my duty. and it shall be done. I live to serve, and whatever the outcome of the days to come, I will see Mora's will done. Role-playing the Deep One is going to be quite open to your own judgment. Obviously, you'll take center stage for the quest against Alduin in the Dragonborn questline, and you're going to side with the Dawnguard against the vampires, as being undead adds very little to the character. But beyond that, the world is your mud crab. Factions you decide to join and fight against are entirely your choice, as is your involvement in the Civil War. After all, regardless of the outcome, you can rest assured that it confirms to the will of Hermaeus Mora. In conversation you will remain cold and detached, though not necessarily unsympathetic. In the handful of encounters you directly encounter Mora himself, you will quite naturally do exactly what is asked of you without question. Should you want to take the roleplay as far as you can, then be sure to build a nice collection of rare books, quest tomes, journals, anything one of a kind, quest related, or skill and spell books. This is the Deep One's one true purpose and love, after all. Playstyle and combat will be primarily from range, first summoning your Seeker, then bombarding enemies with spells from afar. When enemies start to close in, you can use Mirax's staff to slow them and become ethereal to fall back. But should they continue on, you can boost your defenses with skin spells, cast Rain Cloak upon yourself to damage the closest attackers, mark for death to weaken them, and finish them off with your blade. The Deep One is an Argonian, granting him plus 10 to lockpicking, plus 5 to light armor, alteration, pickpocket, restoration, and sneak, along with a 50% resistance to disease and the ability to breathe underwater. For your standing stones in early game, you're going to go with the Mage Stone, boosting your leveling and magic trees, then shifting in game to the Atronach, boosting your magicka pool by plus 50 and providing a 50% chance to absorb magicka from spells cast upon you. The Atronach also lowers your magicka regeneration by 50%, but this will be balanced out by your perk choice. Your stat spread will be 40% health, 10% stamina, and 50% magicka. For your gear, you're going to use Mirax's sword and staff, Mirax's robes, hand wraps, foot wraps, the Dragon Priest mask Nakreen, a Bonehawk amulet, Ring of the Erudite, and a black hide cloak. No enchantments will be required for the build, as most of your equipment will be pre-enchanted. However, should you choose to enchant the pieces that are not, my recommended enchantments are Fortify Destruction, Fortify Magicka Regen, and Fortify Magicka Resistance. Your favorited spells will be Geyser, Rain Cloak, Tidal Wave, Close Wounds, and Ebony Flesh. Favorited shouts will be Become Ethereal and Marked for Death. Your favorited powers will be Hissed Skin and Mora's Boon. And for the remaining black books, you will take Secret of Arcana and Seeker of Sorcery. Now let's talk about the perks. In Destruction, you will take Novice, Apprentice, Adept, Expert, and Master Destruction, reducing the cost of associated spells by 50%. Destruction Dual Casting, allowing you to overcharge spells with both hands, making them more powerful. Impact, which will give dual cast spells a chance to stagger opponents. Augmented Frost, increasing the damage of frost spells by 25%. Augmented Water, increasing the damage of water spells by 50%. And Dry Drown, which will cause enemies to start drowning if their health is low. Do note, Augmented Frost will serve no purpose for the build, except in order to reach the needed water magic perks. In Conjuration, you will take Novice, Apprentice, and Adept Conjuration, reducing the cost of associated spells by 50%. Conjuration Dual Casting, allowing you to overcharge the spells using both hands to increase the length of your summoned creatures. And 2 points in Summoner, allowing you to summon your creatures up to 3 times further away. In Alteration, you will take Novice, Apprentice, Adept, and Expert Alteration, reducing the cost of associated spells by 50%. 3 points of Mage Armor, causing flesh spells to be 3 times stronger while not wearing armor. Stability, causing your flesh spells to last 50% longer. And Atronach, causing 30% of spells cast at you to be absorbed. In Restoration, you're going to take Novice, Apprentice, Adept, and Expert Restoration, reducing the cost of associated spells by 50%. Regeneration, causing your healing spells to be 50% stronger. 2 points in Recovery, increasing your magic regeneration speed by 50. And Avoid Death, which once per day will allow you to regain 250 HP if your health falls below 10%. In One-Handed, you will take 5 points in Armsman, making your one-handed weapons deal 100% more damage. Fighting Stance, causing power attacks to cause 25% less stamina. Savage Strike, which will allow standing power attacks to deal 25% more damage with a chance to decapitate enemies. And Paralyzing Strike, causing your backwards power attacks to have a 25% chance to paralyze targets. And finally, in Smithing, you will take Steel and Dwarven Smithing, allowing you to craft associated gear and improve it twice as much, and Arcane Blacksmith, allowing you to upgrade your already enchanted gear. Now let's talk about the mods you're going to want to use. First of all, you need Elemental Destruction Magic, which will add the water spells you're going to use into the game. Secondly, you'll need your choice of Cloaks and Cape mods. Personally, the one I have used in the video is Cloaks of Skyrim. Next, you're going to need Hand Wraps, Heavy, Light, and Unarmored, which will add craftable hand wraps of all 3 armor ratings into the game. Some other mods that aren't required for the build but definitely work well with it are Hermaeus Mora's Sword, which alters Mirak's sword to have the attack distance equal to his animation, as well as adding the enchantment for Mirak's staff to it, and Dragon Priest Mask tweaks, which alters the enchantments of most of the Dragon Priest masks slightly. And with that, I'm going to wrap up this Skyrim build. Guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to give it a like. Let me know down in the comments below what you thought of it and what you would like to see in the future. And until next time, I'm Shadowlord Zero of MasterQuest Gaming. Happy questing, everybody.